And welcome back to another lab. Today's lab is all about advanced spying. In previous labs, we talked a little bit and you got to experiment and play with just some of the basic spying. Now what's great about Blue Prism when you spy different elements is it always selects the default attributes for you. But what if you wanted to toy or tinker a little bit more, something more advanced, or maybe a website has just a ton of animations? Luckily, Blue Prism has you covered. So today, we're going to talk about some advanced spying techniques that will help you and your digital worker make sure you're getting the best out of your automations. See you in the lab.
Okay guys, welcome back to Lab 5, Advanced Spying. We're going to be back in the Object Studio this time, so make sure you're not in the Process Studio. So go to your Objects and open up Lab 5 Object right here. Now notice the first thing we'll take a look at is we have 7 data items here on this first page, Initialize. And if you click these, one of them, doesn't have to be this one, notice that we have hide from other pages in this process unchecked. This helps that these basically data items can be used on any of these pages. So for something like these are, for instance, intelligent wait stage timers. So if we want to wait for a page to load 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, half second, we could simply reference these instead of having to create it. Just a little way to kind of make easier tweaks down the road, if you will. So in this one, we're going to go ahead and hit new. We're going to get a new page on here, and let's call this one get price. Okay, so it should look something like this. Now, in accordance with those best practices, as I'm sure you guys have read in the notes on this lab, we do want to start with the verified, make sure we're on the correct page. So we're going to go to our search. And this time we're simply just going to drag a box over this. I'm not using any of the tools on the left, just simply clicking with my left mouse and then selecting, make sure you get the block in there too. And then hitting copy, go to news right here, get price, excuse me, and then we can paste that right there. So again, just kind of making building a little bit easier. So it should look something like this, right? All right, let's keep going. So we got a little bit longer lab today, by the way, too. But there's some really good stuff. Obviously, hence the title, Advanced Spying. It's going to be a little more advanced than just the basics. Okay, so I think now I want to open up our intelligent wait stage. So let's click this. There we go. And this time we're just going to make a change, a swap. I want to make sure that we're on the price ticker right there. So we're going to drag and drop that over here. We've got check exist. And that's basically all we're going to do on this one. So go ahead and click OK. So in this get price, as some of you may have probably guessed, we're going to be getting that actual price of the stock ticker. So now that we know that we're on the correct page with our verify, it's time to drag in a stage that we haven't used yet. And this is the read stage. So go ahead and drag and down, drag. I apologize, guys, if I cannot talk today. It's one of those days, but it's all good. All right, so we've got our read stage that we drag and dropped onto the canvas there. Let's go ahead and open that up. And we'll go ahead, as usual, and always title this name. Read price. There we go. Boom. Okay, so now we want to get the price here, which is our element. We're going to place that right there. I'm going to go ahead and get data, and this one we're going to do is get current value. Pretty simple, right? Just we're going to get that current value, so you should have something like price and this all right here. But now if we get the value of this stock, right, well, we got to put it somewhere, right? So hence the storage place that. So now we could, of course, create a data item like we have in the past and drag and drop something like, this over here, wherever. But what we could do is we do have this, let me maximize this a little bit. We've got this store in right here. And if we click it, it's actually going to create something right for us. Value from price. You can see it's placed here in text because it is data type text. And then we don't have to go do that. So we can go ahead and click OK. So easy breezy so far. We can see our new data item over here. And let's, of course, add a block around that bad boy right there. Data items. Okay, and now we'll want to put the do stage, because verify, do, confirm, right? That would be the next logical one. Okay. So we are cracking on, and don't forget to link this now. So you should look like this right here in the lab so far. We need to do, just looked at this actually, we need one last more link between the read and the end stage. So we'll go ahead and do this, make it a little neater like that. And there we go. Okay, so now all we have to do is basically return the value that we are reading here, the stock ticker value. So go ahead and open up the properties of the end stage. So you remember in previous labs, we did the start stage. This one is going to be the end one. Okay, so come up here. And now we're going to click the add button. And we'll call this one price. And description will be price of the stock. And we want to get this from that value from price, right? Right there. And it is a text. So there we go. We've got it all 4 pieces in. And we'll go ahead and hit OK. Now we will, of course, want to publish this. So we can go right click on here and hit publish. So make sure you have this cool little symbol here that we've officially published it here. Okay, guys, so we've done our get price. I paused the recording here and moved my screens around, got my 2 monitors up, but I've got my Object Studio over here on the right, and I'm on our launch page. So I'm still in the same object in my Object Studio that we were just there. So we just completed this, but we're going to go ahead and run the launch. So if you hit reset on this and then hit play, go ahead and hit launch. And we've got our page loaded. Beautiful. Okay, so now we need to go to our search page because we just launched this. So we'll go ahead and do this. Make sure we're attached. We're going to search for that stock ticker. So again, you could either set next stage or just simply hit the reset. Go ahead and hit play. And we'll make sure that our digital worker is attached. As you can see right here, it's going through, going through. Is there a search bar? Yes, there is. And we've typed in our Disney stock ticker. And did the page load? Yes. Okay, Disney is down a little bit today. All right. So from there, what we're going to do is want to get the news because, well, we've got the price, but we should also get the news, so we can have some reading for our digital worker to do. So now we're going to open up our application modeler right here. And we're going to add a new element. And we're going to name this one News Result 1. So go ahead and click element on the bottom left. News Result 1. And actually, I'm going to pause this because I want to make, if you're spying, by the way, it's better just to always do it on one monitor. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so let me move this around. We've got our maximized here, and now we're going to go to our spying here. Okay, we are ready to spy our News Result 1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit identify. And here we can see our first news result right here. So go ahead and hit Control left, right? And as always, best practice, let's go ahead and highlight that. And yep, there it is. That is exactly the news that I wanted, or the element, excuse me. So go ahead and click this column match. So these are our attributes. We haven't really talked about these yet before in the lab. And there's a lot of really good information in further trainings, especially in our education university course. It's free with Blue Prism. But what Blue Prism does is essentially finds the best 4 attributes to match with your element. Now, sometimes this is really useful if certain, boxes or something have a lot of similar characteristics, or depending on the application, you can uncheck them or check them. You can really, it basically gives you a robust set of tools to really make sure you're getting the best element and the fastest possible time as well. Now, luckily, you don't have to toy with these every single time, right? If you're not like, oh, which elements do I need? Blue Prism has you covered because it selects the 4 or 5 or how many it determines it needs right as a default. So it kind of gives you a really good basis for that. So we want to make this object generic. With that in mind, right, we're not going to be using this web page address as an identifier. So we're going to go ahead and uncheck this. So you should have these first 3 of these. We're just checking web page address. And we're also going to uncheck web access key because this has a blank value. So this is the value over here that matches with the element. So since there's nothing there, we're going to go ahead and uncheck that. This again can really help increasing the speed of a digital worker finding exactly what you need on an application or a website. I'm also going to make a little note here. There is a really good note in the instructions about visible matches. And I'm not going to talk about those, but I really encourage you guys to go read those because it's a really, really good nugget. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click highlight and make sure that we can still find it. So anytime you play around with the attributes, you want to hit highlight and make sure that you're still finding it. Boom. There we go. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and add a second one. So let's do news element, result 2. We'll hit identify and we'll go ahead and grab this second one right there. We've got our 4 right here. So again, we'll take web access out and web page address. Again, we want to make this generic. So we'll go ahead and hit highlight and it is finding the second one. So there we go. So far on our 2 news results. So if we were to get each of these results, the titles will change each time. So if you start to compare, as the instructions say, between news result 1 and 2, you can start to see a few of these differences in the values, right? You can already see even one for web Y, right? The numbers changing. But if we look at, and again, make sure you read these instructions carefully. If you look at this web path, X path right here, you can see here, and actually it might be easier to look at the instructions here. You can see that there's a difference in the 2. Now what we're saying in labs, again, you don't have to understand any of this HTML structure or anything. What we're simply doing is in those numbers, right here, 1 is the 2, you can change things and values to have like an asterisk right there. So we can put 1. So go ahead and change that 2 in news result 2 and go ahead and do the same for the 1. And when you change it from an asterisk 2, you want to make sure not equal to wildcard. So basically we can say anything after this, right? It doesn't have to be an exact match. So go ahead and do this one as well. This would be the 3rd one. Make sure you get the right one. Or you could actually even change it in your Word document and then paste it in. And it should look something like this right here. So again, be very careful on those, right? And make sure you read. There's some really good nuggets of instruction on there. So now what we want to do is go ahead and test this. So with news result 1, let's go ahead and hit highlight. And you can see that a couple different, more than one matching element is found, right? It's like, well, hey, there's a whole bunch of these here. So what we want to do right now is we want to look at our match index. And what match index, if you scroll down to the bottom here, I think it is, yep. Match index basically describes the order that the elements are found. So it's saying, okay, we're going to find this one first, then the second, then the third, right? So go ahead and check this. So check mark match index right here. And want to go test this now. And match index one, by the way, someone who spends a lot of time Blue Prism, is certainly one that I use a lot. So you should become very familiar with it. And again, every time you check or uncheck, if you simply resort, they will appear at the top. So go ahead and hit highlight on this news one. And then it's going to go ahead and find that first one there for us. So let's crack on. And one thing before we leave on our match index, if I were to change this to a 2, we could simply highlight this, and now it will find the second one. So you could do this for the third and the fourth and so on and so on. So you can start to really see the importance here of using match index. But we're not quite done with match index just yet. So go ahead and let's look at match type for match index, and go ahead and change this to dynamic. This will allow you to change the value from the object as needed in your business logic or the action, right? So basically, we only need the one element now. So let's change this name to news results. So we don't have to have, hopefully this is making sense for you guys, but basically what this is saying is that we don't need to have an individual element spied for each single one. We can reduce this down and just have a dynamic element. Now, there's a lot of great readings. Please make sure you read this lab. And since we've changed this to dynamic, now what we're going to do is go ahead and delete news results 2. So right click on that and hit delete. Okay, so we've got our dynamic, leaving it at 2. And now we're going to hit OK and get out of the application modeler. So back in our studio over here, it's time to add a read stage for these news. So we're going to go ahead and drag a read page down here. And this one we're just going to call get data. So double click this. And we'll put news results in here. Get current value. And we'll put our text over here. So store that in the current value, which we've set up neatly for you guys so that you don't have to recreate it. And go ahead and then hit OK. I actually jumped ahead of myself a little bit. So if I open this back up, actually we need to go to the 3 dots here for the parameters. So you can make this big. So again, right next to news results, hit the 3 dots. And now we're going to specify the value of match index, right? So basically which one that we want it to be. So we've got match index, number is equal, and you can see you've got a couple other options here as well. And this one we'll want to get our value. So we want to put this in result number, which is under number, not text, if you're like me, making mistakes. So go ahead and put result number in there. It should look something like that. And then we'll press OK. And then one more OK to get out of the read stage right here. And we're back on our main screen. Now, if we think about this, there are multiple news results, right? And since we have multiple news results, we can't just store them in one data item. And this is where we get into a collection. So collection over here on the left, you'll notice a collection right here. A collection is basically a group of data items, right? So if you have a huge column of Excel rows, or in this case, we have multiple results coming in from the news website, we can simply add those into a collection. So what we're going to do here, before we can record the results to this collection, we're basically going to need an added row. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to add an action stage. So drag an action stage down here on the canvas. We'll move it around a little later. And we'll call this one add row. So that way we can start storing these results in this collection. And we're going to go to the business object collections. I have so many of in here, but I believe it should be in the down. There it is. Collections. This is usually around your internal business objects here. So internal collections, and our action is already landed on add row for us perfectly. And this is our collection, and we want to do this in results. So we're just putting this exactly where we want to store this. And it is very important, remember, to have the quotes in here. So go ahead and press OK to exit out of this. Now open up your properties for that collection, so results, so your data item collection, and it should look something like this. And we're going to add a field, so make sure you're on the field tab right here. And this one we're going to call title. We'll go ahead and put text. And if you want to add a description, you can. But for now, I'm just going to kind of just leave it like this. And go ahead and press OK. Okay. Now we also need a multi-calc stage, so go ahead and just drag one down. Make sure you don't get calculation, get the multi-calc right here. Go ahead and open that. We're going to title this Assign to Collection. And we want to set it up basically to store the current value in the collection. And also to update the result number. If you've read the instructions, we're just doing 2 lines on these, okay? So we'll go ahead and hit add. So you can see we've got 2 lines right here. And now we want to get, first one we'll do is current value results title. So open up your collection over here. And we want to store this in our results right here. And of course, we want to get that current value. Is in text over here. So under text, so it should look like this, current value, results title. And then we also want to have this in our results number. So under numbers, we'll go ahead and grab result number down here, and then result number. Now what you're gonna do is a little equation over here, because we're basically just saying we're adding 1 each time. We're adding a new row to this, okay? So again, don't worry about a third row. You can, of course, add it if you want, and that was just simply the retry count. It was looking like this if you're following the instructions, but no need to worry about that third line again, as it is in the picture. It's related to step number 30. And we're on 27, by the way. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click OK. And now we need to do just a little bit housekeeping. So move this over here to the left. You're going to have your add row. Now we can move this back underneath and go ahead and link your intelligent waste stage to get data, add row, assign to collection. We'll go ahead and add in an anchor as well. Okay, and now we also need a decision stage. This is basically, do we keep going or not? And then of course we want to end our process. So it should look something like this. So we'll go in here, link this. If it's a yes, we'll get data, and if it's a no, we want to enter. So it should something like that. Now let's go ahead and finish out this decision stage right here. So we're going to call this keep going. Question mark, not a statement. And we want to have our results number basically less than or equal to result limit. Boom. So it should look something just like this. Again, you can always hit validate to make sure that that is correct. And now that we've got it all linked, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And we're going to open up the properties of the end stage right here. And we're going to add the results as an output. So go ahead and click add. And then simply go ahead to your collections. Just grab results like this. Excuse me, add it right here. Get result, collection. And then go ahead and type in results. Boom. So your end stage should look something like that. Now at this point, your automation, the action would work and you would get the top 2 new search results. However, what if there was only one result that day? Currently, then this action would crash. This is looking for multiple. But since you are an expert basically in these retry loops that we learned back in lab 4, we're going to set up a retry loop as shown below. If you're reading the instructions along with me. And then don't forget to reset the retry count to 1 when you advance. So hint, hint, there is a calculation to a multi-calc stage that stores 1 in the retry count. So go ahead and what you would recommend doing is get a recover stage. So especially if get data, right, that's where it would crash. And then we would have our resume stage. So go ahead and link those together. And then you would want to have a decision stage down here, basically and then you would want a count stage as well. Where is my count stage? Oh, calculation, there we go. Phew, not a count stage. And then you would also add in, this time, an end stage as well. In case there was, we'll add a little note here. And this one's just going to be titled out of results. Notes are good too. They actually serve a nice little purpose. They're not going to actually do anything like go anywhere or anything like that, but it's good if you wanted to have notes just to yourself, or if you have multiple builders or anything like that, you could certainly do so. Okay, so it should looking something like this, and we'll just pointer over here, move that up, straighten that out a little bit. Okay, we need to link this. And let's go ahead and finish our calc stage. I'll do it with you guys, even though the instructions say for you to figure it out yourself, but we don't want anyone left behind. So we need a place to store it, obviously in the retry count. And we'll obviously every time add 1. So then we have our retry count limit. So again, this was covered in lab 4, just doing this retry count. So it should look like something like this. And next we need a decision stage filled out. So open up this. stage, and this will be retry count is less than the retry limit. So it looks something like this. There you go. Okay. And now we've got our current values. Result limit is 2, 1, and a retry limit set at 3. Okay. So you've got your keep going as well, all filled out. And last but not least, I believe we have to do, let me check. I think there's something on the end stage. We'll double click our start stage, and this time we'll hit add again. And we're going to title this one number of results. Cannot type today. And we're going to store these in the result limit. And data type will be number, so it automatically put there. Okay, let's go ahead and click OK. And don't forget now, we actually have to publish this. So right click on your page and hit publish. That way we can use this object in the process level. And now we're going to go back into the process studio. So we'll go ahead and open up lab 5, but in the processes. And just a friendly reminder, if you guys do get stuck, there are the answer keys, right? I want you to have fun. Make sure you're doing this. So now we're going to add a number and make sure you save your object as well. So friendly reminder to save. We're going to add a just data item down here called the number of results. Okay. And we'll do it in data type as number, initial value as 2. And now we're going to add a collection. And we'll call this results. And we're going to add another action stage. So go ahead in the work area, delete this arrow, and drag an action stage down. This one will be called Get News. And this one, just make sure you choose the answer key too. That way you know it's definitely going to work. So answer key 5 right here. And I think on this one, Get News, yes. There it is, because now it is published. So Get News. So go ahead and click OK. And we'll link these two together. And then we'll do one more data item and one more action stage. So now this one is going to be called price. And we'll leave this as is. And we'll do one more data item down here, which is get price. We'll choose that answer key down here one more time. There it is. Get price. And make sure you link these all together. And I did forget, make sure with price, you can leave this as text. I forgot. So friendly reminder on that one. So it should look something like this. And basically on price, make sure we set the output to the data item that we put, which I think I left out here. Let's see. Yes, so under output here, what we can do is put our price in there. Oh, should look just like. And actually, I think we need to, yes, I need to go back into my news and do my inputs really fast. So this one we want to store in the number of results. Put that value down there. There we go. And output will be, let me see on this, we'll put it into results. We're going to put it in this collection right there. So there is your lab. Double check that we got all our outputs right here as well. And so now from what you can do is simply go ahead and do some testing of it.
So go ahead, folks, hit the reset button and hit the play and run and watch your automation get your news and your price and store them here. Hope you guys had fun. This was a longer lab. There's a little more advanced stuff. As always, this is just the beginning. There's a lot more documents on learning this. So make sure you read these guys, and I'll see you on the wrap up.